think Liverpool were pretty lucky yesterday. Just I know we blitzed them in the first 20 minutes, 3-0 up.
Yeah.
But I'd say from like 25 minutes onwards, Tottenham were the better team for the rest of the game.
Really?
Yeah, Liverpool only had 4 shots yesterday on target, and they were the ones they scored with.
Did you both watch the game?
We didn't.
Of course.
It's interesting to hear two different opinions.
We didn't create much after we scored the third goal. They hit the post twice. They tested Alisson a lot more than what we tested their keeper. I think if they get their third goal sooner than what they did, they win the game.
Definitely had loads of chances. They did have loads of chances.
Yeah, I think Tottenham were the better team yesterday, bar the first 20 minutes.
Fair enough. I don't think so. I think it's a case of taking your foot off the gas as well, but not to the point where they were like running. You could turn around and say, "Oh, Tottenham were the better team and deserved." And do you know what I mean? Deserved the point at the very least, because I don't think they would have won it, but deserved the point. I don't think so.
I disagree.
I
think we took the foot off the gas, and Tottenham kind of dictated the way the game was playing. And I mentioned a couple of times before about the in-game management of Klopp. Like, it's all well and good. He's kind of found a new system that we're playing, and it seems to work. Like, say, the first 20 minutes, we were excellent. I blitzed them. Trent doing his thing, and like everyone just kind of seemed on job. But you could start to see the game was running away from us. And I just think the subs that he made weren't particularly great. Obviously, the personnel coming in.
What are your thoughts on Harvey Elliott as a centre mid?
I think he can do the role, but I think there's a bit too much expectations on him at the minute. But that comes with playing for Liverpool, regardless of how old you are.
What are your thoughts?
I don't think he's not a central midfielder.
I don't think he's good enough. I've said that.
I think he's good enough. I don't think he's got the physical presence to play in the central.
So where do you think he should play?
On the wing.
On the wing?
Yeah.
In the front three?
What, inside forward kind of vibe?
No, it's Salah's position, but Salah's not going to get moved.
Yeah, but will he
so
get?
He has to play in central midfield. That's the next best.
Where did he play on the
That's
come
why
up?
if you look at when he plays right-sided centre mid.
Yeah,
right?
he does.
So what he does is if with Trent now not bombing forward, Harvey Elliott can now do that additional kind of overlapping on Salah or the kind of interlink with Salah, right? Yeah. So if Salah drops inside, you'll see Harvey Elliott might try and push out if he can or if he's not occupied centrally. I just don't think, number one, I don't think he's got the physical presence to play right-sided centre mid. If like once it's time to get stuck in, I don't think he's got enough to do it. I just think he's a better talent if we pushed him out wide, but that's not going to happen because Salah's out there.
What do you think about? What about the midfield as it is now? So if you had we've bannered and everyone's talked about Liverpool's midfield and the choices they've got there. If you had a stronger midfield, or you've got a Fabinho at the peak of his powers, etc., does that take the pressure off Elliott a little bit? Does that allow him to? Because to your point, I think the midfield is not functioning as expected.
As we want it to.
Right? Trying to make it work.
So if we have the legs that we needed, so if Henderson had legs, or if we still had Wijnaldum, Harvey Elliott doesn't see the central midfield.
No.
Right?
Oh, okay.
And the reason why Fabinho looks leggy is because he's having to do 2 jobs. Right? If you watch the games, when we had legs, so either Wijnaldum or Henderson, Fabinho could just do his sweeping. He could just, cut out the passes, clean up, but move the ball on. Now we don't have that. Henderson's regressing. We don't have Wijnaldum. We don't have another central midfielder. Okay, Kate is just a waste of space. Yeah. Thiago's not that. No, we're being...
What about Arthur?
I forgot about it,
His career, what was it? The article, this career lasted 13 minutes.
Yeah.
What's going on with Carvalho? He doesn't seem to want to
use
him.
This is
He was
it.
on the bench.
But I think with Elliott and Carvalho, I don't think you have a natural position for them in your formation. Because your midfield, you play as a 4-3-3. So I think they're more like attacking 8s, almost like 10s, and
100%.
Liverpool don't play like that.
100%.
So I think that's why they're a bit lost. They're a bit lost in the formation.
100%. Because, all right, so Elliott's, they've found a second position for him, which is central mid, which is kind of just like a plaster over the problem.
Exactly.
But Carvalho, they don't have a position.
It's not their natural position,
exactly.
And even the two of them, when they play together, you can see a little connection there. They like to do that interchange. But if you haven't got a protection behind him, it doesn't accommodate.
Yeah.
So Fabinho, if you actually deep it, where Fabinho looks a bit lost or leggy is because he's having to cover the running from the other central midfielder, and then he's also having to do his defensive midfielder. And it looks like it looks like he just doesn't have the legs for it. But you put someone in there that can move, and then Fabinho looks decent again.
Yeah, like we've all discussed, like in the group, etc. Our midfield is the key area that needs to be addressed, and I think if we go out and get two capable first team ready central midfielders, I think our problems are not they don't magically disappear overnight, but it puts us back into a challenging position.
Can we talk about the defence?
No,
because I'm hearing midfield from all Liverpool fans. It's midfield. But the defence, what's going on there?
It's mad.
Shocking.
What's going on? Super Van,
Wow.
Super VVD.
He slipped.
You know when I knew it wasn't the same? I can't remember what game. Very, very early on in the season, and Zaha was approaching him, and he was just backing up, and then Zaha just started it, and I was like, "Who are you? Who are you? You're not Van Dijk. You're not engaged." Like,
but the thing is, he hasn't
Dijk
changed.
never
He hasn't
really
changed his style of defending. He just lost that yard of being able to dictate where he wants the attacker to go. So before, there's loads of times where he'd face someone one-on-one and he'd be like, right, well, I know your strongest foot is your right foot. I'm going to put you onto your left foot, etc. He just seemed to have lost the ability to do that no matter who
Is
comes
it
up
safe
against
to
him.
say Pickford stole his powers?
Right.
Yeah, because that's when it happened,
and that's a big injury, man. It was out for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a big injury at the wrong end of his career, I would argue as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, the reason why Van Dijk gets kind of the pelters now is because the level he was at before that injury.
And the way he's worshipped, yes.
Well, no, not even the way he's worshipped. Like he was generally known
Not
as
by
like,
Liverpool fans, though.
as
Not
a
by
good
Liverpool fans.
defender.
No,
But
Independently,
like,
I'm talking
now he's not doing anything that hasn't happened to like a Premiership defender in the past. It's because he was so good before. You expect that level consistently when it's not really going to happen now.
To your point, right? Whereas before the injury, he was looking a certain way, and then after he's looked this version, this shell of what he used to be. Is it a case of his performances have just mirrored Liverpool as a whole? Whereas before the injury, we were this dominant force.
Well, he's part of the dominance, though.
Hold on. We were this gegenpress, super high, press high, win the ball back. He never really has to defend.
No, because he showed glimpses.
Do you understand?
Last season
So
as well
in
of
the
drop-off.
one-off moments of where he's had to defend, he's not really had to do much. He just steps across.
I think he
bully a
showed
man off the
glimpses
ball.
of the drop-off last season as well. But because we were so good, it was masked, didn't it? Like you can hide in a good team, but those instances happened where you're like, rah.
Sorry,
That happened to Virgil.
But do you think it was hiding? Because my thing is, it's a cumulative thing, right? So part of the reason you guys were that team, Virgil's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons there is a drop-off, to Daz's point, is because he's not at the level.
Okay.
And then is there a separate argument to say, well, that happens in teams. Where is the strategy around him? Like, he's not the only centre-back you have. So Matip, Konate,
But the whole team is
I
dropped
think
off.
that's the change. I think before Van Dijk was playing in defence, it didn't matter who was next to him. Because Van Dijk was there, he could coach them through that game. And he's doing both jobs, But now, Van Dijk's level's gone to a level now where he can't coach the person next to him through. He needs them to be just as good as him.
Yeah.
And they're not.
And it's crazy.
And it's sort of like...
I'm seeing this Trent narrative. I'm seeing videos and I'm like, wait, no one's talking about what Van Dijk isn't doing in this clip.
Yeah.
And it's just
And
crazy.
to be fair, we don't really know what he's got going on mentally.
Yeah, I agree.
I was saying before the World Cup where he looked tentative in his challenges and stuff, I was like, he protected himself for the World Cup. Like, we don't know what his state of mind is coming back from the injury. Like John said, it's a really serious injury. We don't know how long he wants to play for. He could just be like protecting himself in it. I'm not saying it to kind of give him an excuse, but
so bringing it up.
I was just going to say, go on.
I was going to say, bringing it up now. So, despite all of Tottenham's woes, they're sixth. Right? They're sixth. That game was, I want to say, important because you guys basically swapped places, right? So, Liverpool are now fifth.
I think it was the 5th place playoff they were building it as.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back. That's
gonna get spicy.
But you got a game in hand on Spurs, so really, I think you're out of the woods. You're 2 points ahead of them. Problem is now, I was going to try and have a top 4 conversation, but Man United have got a game in hand on you, and they're 7 points ahead.
Top 4's gone.
Yeah,
Mm.
man.
Like, if we're being really, and I've always said that.
Is it gone?
No, it is. It is.
7 points
It
and they
is.
got a game in hand.
It is. It's
If
gone.
we get top 4, then
Liverpool got 5
Man
games.
United have got a series. You've got to look at
Yeah, I think
themselves.
so.
Yeah. So they got
Top 4
15
set.
available points. And Man United have got 18 available points.
And where's
So
Brighton? And where's Brighton in relation to that?
Brighton at 8th and they got 52 points.
But how many
They
games
got-
they
they
played?
got
They got a
two-
couple games in
two
hand.
games
didn't
Yeah,
they?
they got
Yeah.
2 games in hand.
If they win them, do they go above Liverpool? If they win,
Yeah, they got-
so
only 4
that's
points
what-
behind.